Let's start with Storm Ciaran, should we? How prepared is the government for what might happen with Storm Ciaran? We're being told winds of more than 100 miles an hour already recorded, and even reports of a tornado.
So my first advice to everybody who is in the areas impacted is to follow the Environment Agency's clear advice. They are instructing people as to what to do. And I know this can be really frightening and also incredibly disruptive. There were floods in my own constituency in Bradford-on-Avon a number of years ago, which were really disruptive. You know, businesses didn't get back into their properties for 6 months, etc. So it can have a real toll on individuals. What we've done as a government is invest to ensure that over 370,000 homes are actually better equipped to cope with this. And we've also started to roll out 4.2 billion across the UK to really develop our defences against these weather patterns.
What's your advice for people this morning? Should they potentially work from home if they can?
Well, this is an evolving picture. It depends obviously where you are in the country. So my best advice would be to check the Environment Agency's advice for your specific location, and obviously keep checking that, because the situation will evolve as the weather changes throughout the next few days.
You're at Bletchley Park. I know you've been there for this AI Safety Summit. Elon Musk, who doesn't know him, he told us here on Sky News yesterday that AI is a risk. What are you concerned about when it comes to AI?
There are indeed potential risks from AI. In fact, there are some that have already materialised. We categorise it into 3 areas. One of them is around societal harms, so things like disinformation, potential impact on democracy with elections, very pertinent to us in the UK with that coming up next year. Second area is around misuse by bad actors, so that could already happen now in effect. And then the third area is around loss of control, so that's around misalignment of the technology and its ability to self-proliferate, etc. They're the 3 areas that we categorise it as, but we're being very transparent with the public about this. We published documents just last week, first country in the world to do so, detailing from scientists and also our security teams the debate that's going on around these risks. We're working domestically on them so that we can then lean into those opportunities. But we've said that's not enough. We also need to work globally. And that's why, for the first time ever, we convened not just the world's ministers, but also companies in AI and also academics, scientists and experts around the globe on AI. And we've convened them here at Bletchley Park for this summit. And it will be the first of many. Yesterday we announced that the next one will be in the Republic of Korea, and the one after that will be in France.
OK. Secretary of State, forgive me. What's happening with Brits in Gaza? How many managed to get out yesterday, and what are your hopes for today?
The Foreign Office have said that some British nationals have now managed to cross the border to safety. Our duty and our responsibility is to try and get as many of those other British nationals out quickly. The total number, I believe, is around 200. We have teams on the ground that are working to get those individuals out, and we hope to see more out today. And my heart goes out to all the families up and down the country that are waiting eagerly to hear about their loved ones, and also to those people on the ground that have been suffering, because it must be heart-wrenching and extremely terrifying.
Absolutely. Downing Street telling us 2 Brits managed to get out yesterday. We know there are significantly more than that still stuck there in Gaza. One of your colleagues speaking to me earlier on in the week suggesting that amounted to them being hostages. How confident are you that more Brits will be able to come out today? I'm asking because we've got a Palestinian academic on the programme just after 9 o'clock this morning. His family is stuck in Gaza. What are you going to say to him?
Yeah. Well, look, as I said a minute ago, my heart goes out to him and the other people that are impacted by this. It's horrendous, and we've all seen those awful images on our screens of both the impact on the Israeli people, where they were murdered and raped and attacked for no just reason. And then the Palestinians have, in effect, been held hostage by Hamas, and they are facing extreme problems at the moment. And so my heart does go out to the individual that you will be interviewing. We're not in full control of that border, as you know, so it is very difficult. But the Foreign Secretary and the Prime Minister have said multiple times that it is our top priority to get those British nationals out as quickly as we possibly can. And I know that that is something that the Foreign Secretary has been actively working on with the Prime Minister.
I know the collective view of the government on a ceasefire in Gaza, but I wonder if you could offer me a view on this, please. Yesterday, we had a British doctor here in the studio who says that he has seen evidence that white phosphorus is being used by the Israelis in areas where civilians are sheltering in place in Gaza. What's the government's view on white phosphorus?
Well, look, it's the same as we've been saying for the last few weeks. We believe that Israel or any nation should, of course, not step out of line with international laws and make sure that they have that they are abiding by international humanitarian laws in this space, including any examples that you may give. I'm not going to comment on speculation of what is or isn't happening on the ground. It is a live conflict. Things are changing. A lot of these things will be looked at and reviewed, and experts will determine whether international law was upheld throughout this conflict. But we have been very clear. The Prime Minister went to the region himself and gave a very clear message that we expect it to be upheld, whilst we 100% believe Israel has a right to defend itself, given that heinous and unforgivable attack that they experienced, and the fact that there are so many hostages still being kept from their families and their loved ones.
Yeah, I specifically ask you about your view on white phosphorus. I don't think you're going to tell me, and we're almost out of time. So instead, let me ask you about.
Well, I don't approve of the use of white phosphorus. I think that's quite clear. But what I'm saying is I can't tell you for certain whether that has been deployed or not. This is a live conflict. This is speculation, and okay. I'm not convinced it's helpful for us to get drawn into ifs, buts, and maybes.
Well, thank you for the clarification on that. Exclusive polling for Sky News suggesting 12% of 2019 Tory voters would vote for reform at the next election. What would you say to them?
I would say that we as a government are focusing on delivery. We're also focusing on making sure that we're delivering on the areas that the British public care about. The Prime Minister identified 5 top priorities. They're the things that come up on the doorstep in my constituency in Wiltshire. But as well as that, we're also tackling some of the longer term issues, the ones that will protect my child and his children and your children, and that includes around AI. And like I said, here we are today at Bletchley Park. We've convened the world for a discussion and for joint action to ensure that we tackle the risks to then get those fantastic opportunities within our NHS, within our transport network, and across the whole of society. So this, to me, highlights how we're a government that isn't just focusing on the short and the near term, but is tackling some of them really difficult, challenging issues so that our children and the next generation can have a better future.
Minister, we must leave it there. Apologies again for the gremlins. Thank you for bearing with us. Watch out for Storm Ciaran on the way home. Thank you.